right, so once this side is coplanar with that side and will sit there evenly, then you're ready to make a flat here and make a flat there. Now, I've drawn out a copy of my pattern. It's a half pattern. It goes from here to here. You flip it over and you do the other side. I have drawn it out on this piece of stock here for the headrest. And the piece of stock is 1.5 inches thick. It is 3 5/8 wide, and in this case, 15 inches long. But you better check your measurement from this point right here to that point right there. In other words, from here to here. Know what that measurement is, and then make sure that you've got enough headrest material to span that. There might be some differences caused by the exact width of your seat. That influences everything and causes your headrest up here to be kind of an accordion piece. In other words, it needs to expand and contract so that it sits on top of your back legs. So keep all of that in mind as you work through the headrest. All right, we're gonna put a really nice looking headrest on here. And the headrest sits right on top of your back legs. And we're gonna attach it with some dowels right there. First thing to do is you want this to be flat between here and there. Those two surfaces need to be coplanar. They need to be in the same plane. So, in order to do that, I set a straight edge across there. And taking a look. Now, this side over here is just a little bit high. So what I'm going to do is take a colored pencil and I'm going to cover this surface. I'll do the same thing over here. And I'm going to get a clamp that, so I can clamp this so it won't move back and forth. So let me get a special clamp. I'll clamp it up. Then I'll show you how to take, make a sanding block that will work both surfaces down so there'll be a smooth fit. You'll also do the same thing when you fit the sleds to the bottom of the legs, but you're going to use a different sanding block for that. Okay, I've put a clamp that has a reversing feature on it here to push out to the sides. I put a clamp here to squeeze it toward the middle, and that keeps this from flexing, and it makes it a lot easier to do this. This piece is 1.5 thickness, 3 5/8 in width, and that won't vary. The 15 inches is the whole rough size that I have here so that I can cut everything to fit. Now, the first thing I'm going to cut is a notch right here and right here. I'm going to cut this notch out so that when we put it up here, this part will hang down about an inch, and it will end up receiving part of your backsplat right here. So that's going to be the major part of the work. But we'll start out by going to the table saw and cutting these notches. Let's go. The measurements here are, and you'll find these on your pattern, I'm 1 7/8 of an inch from the outside of this 15-inch board. And so I'm going to make a cut there that is 1 7/8 of an inch. And I've pulled this line all the way around so that I can actually put this right next to the blade to set my height. Now I want to go almost to the line. And then on the cross cut here, when I make this cross cut, that will take it out. This measurement is 1 inch. So you just want to make sure that you have this notch from here to here cut out. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do one side, flip it over, and then do the other. And I've got my table saw set up so that I have a stop block here. And I can, I'm holding the board securely where I want it, and I can just flip it over and cut the other side, and my cut will be consistent. So here goes. Now, I want to use this cut right here to set the height of my blade. And just like before, we're going to leave a little bit in the corner that we can take out with a chisel. And that way we can have a good cut. And I'm going to use my block here to move it over. Be just kind of a stop block. I'm going to go to the bench and take this little bit out on each side, and then we'll proceed. We have cut these notches here, and we want to start working on the mortises so that the splat will fit in. So take your center line of your board. If it's 15 inches long, half of that is 7.5, and draw that center line all the way around. Very important, that center line. Then take the center line of your headrest radius top profile, and we're actually using it on the bottom. If you've done enough of my projects, you realize that a lot of times I'll say top, but you use it on the bottom. So what you want to do is you want to use that center line to line up everything, and then you want to draw that radius, and then back up from the center line 3/16 of an inch. And make yourself a little mark right there, 3/16 from here to there. Make yourself a little mark on the center line, and then measure out to the side, and this will give you some idea. Measure out to the side 2 7/8 of an inch. So you want to go 2 7/8 from the center out to the outside of your where you're going to drill your mortises. 2 7/8 of an inch. So once you get that done, then your mortises are just going to be 1/4 of an inch in width, just like before. And so mark it out, and then go to your mortiser or go to your drill press and drill the holes, and then chop it out. You want to make this 1 inch deep. So I'm going to take it over to my mortising machine and drill it out, and then we'll be ready for the next step. So now we can cut this out at the bandsaw and start fitting the backsplat to the mortise. Okay, the order of these cuts is very important. You have to have a strategy, because we still need to make the front profile here where we scoop it out. But it's kind of hard to do if you go ahead and make all the cuts. So what I did is I made a whole bunch of relief cuts and made sure that I made a relief cut here and relief cut there. Getting to this point, because that point there is real important. Now, if I cut on this line and cut the front profile and cut the back profile back there, I can take this piece and stick it back on, and I'll have this line ready to cut that. But we've got to get all of these cuts to kind of come together at the right place to make this work out. So, all right, let's make this cut front profile right here. All right, now I'm going to tape this piece back on and make sure that it's on my center line here. And then I can finish making these cuts. All right, I used some double-sided tape so that it wouldn't block my view of the line here. All right, I've stuck the headrest on at the top of the legs with some double stick tape. A couple of things I need to do. One is I need to make sure I've got this angle right. And so I can cut that angle with my miter saw. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I want to find a point that I can, so I can align a dowel, one dowel that will go in this joint and one dowel in that joint. So I'm going to come just a ½ an inch in here. And this will help me locate my dowel. So we'll take this off and we'll go to the miter saw and copy that angle. I found it helpful to take these pieces that I cut off of the back and to double stick tape them on the back side so that when I made the cut, I didn't have a bunch of wobble. You never want that. You always want to be able to control whatever it is you're doing. So now we can start trying to fit our splat into the mortise.